I think it's the worst weather we've had for this program. But welcome everybody, and I would like to thank you very much for coming. Your support of this program means so much to me and to the kids that we want to put the showcase on for you every year. This is our 11th year doing this. We do this program for two main reasons, and those of you that have been here before kind of know a little bit about this, but it serves two purposes. Number one, it allows parents and friends and family to see their performances that for those that have not followed us throughout the season. And it's also a really good coaching tool for us so that we videotape it. We spend an hour one-on-one with me. We go over the tape, we fine-tune it, and we get it ready to go to state. This year our state competition is on May the 4th. It will be at Wichita East High School. And the last 2 years, we placed second and third. And this year we feel like it is our turn to bring home the state championship trophy. And I've got a lot of talent this year and a lot of experience going in. We've also got a couple of young ones that are going to compete for us. So we feel real good about our chances of trophying at state. So tonight, overall throughout the season, we qualified 28 entries to state. We can only take 16 to the state tournament, so we had to narrow it down. Tonight, you will see 10 of the 16 that are going to state, and on the back of your program are the rest of the events and the kids that have also qualified that maybe will not be performing yet tonight. So, as soon as we get Lisa in, maybe right there. No. No. Come on in. That's all right. I'll let you find a seat. All right. The first performance tonight is a duet. Oh, yes. All right. I also want to thank the Ottawa County Music Club. Always gives us a ice cream at the end. So when you get ready to leave tonight, if you would like ice cream, there'll be ice cream out in the hallway. And I think they have a presentation for us.
Yes, Ottawa County Music Club is very proud of all fine arts performers in our county. And so stay for ice cream, and we'd like to present a $50 check to the forensics to be used for whatever they would like. And best wishes to all of you at state. Go first.
All right, the first performance tonight is a duet. Mr. Matt Comfort and Mr. Jeffrey Metzler. Matt is a third-year senior. He has qualified 3 events this year, including a solo humorist, a prose, and a duet. And Jeffrey is a freshman, and he is also qualified 3 events. He's got an informative that he's going to take to state. He also qualified an IDA, and you're going to see their duet tonight. So, wait for my cue.
Got it. Halt! Who goes there?
Well, it is I, Arthur, son of Uther Pendragon, from the castle of Camelot, king of the Britons, defeater of the Saxons, and sovereign of all England. I have searched this land for brave men to join me at my court at Camelot. Will you ask your master if he would like to join? Please. Will you ask your master if he would like to join the Knights of Camelot?
King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table were some of the coolest dudes ever.
And whether they were actual historical figures or heroes of legend, they represented good versus evil and were the basis of many a tale.
King Arthur and his Knights in the following selection embark on a most important quest. It is our version, and it is taken from the original script of
Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail by John Cleese et al.
Yes! Marvelous! Bravo! Wonderful job! I have searched this land for brave men to join me at my court. You have proven yourself worthy. Will you join me? A man of your strength and skill would be chief of all my knights.
never.
You make me sad, but so be it.
None shall pass.
I will not quarrel with you, Sir Knight, but I must cross this bridge.
Then you shall die.
Now, stand aside, worthy adversary.
It's a flesh wound.
Your bloody arm is off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what is this then?
I've had worse. Give me that sword back. Come on.
I thank thee, O Lord, that...
Come on, you. Come on. I'll do you for that.
What?
Oh, never mind. Come on. Come on. Oh, you can't beat me. I'm the Black Knight. I always win.
The battle is mine.
But I'm invincible. Come on. Come on. All right. We'll call it a draw. Come on, you yellow coward. I'll bite your legs off for that. Come on. What? Who are you?
It is I, Arthur, King of the Britons.
My liege, forgive me.
I have searched this land for brave men to join me at the court of Camelot. What is your name?
Bedivere, my liege.
Then I W. Sir Bedivere, Knight of the Round Table.
Yes.
They set off again. Sir Bedivere was the first to join King Arthur in his court, but other illustrious names were to follow. Sir Lancelot the Brave, Sir Galahad the Pure, and Sir Robin the not quite so as pure as Sir Lancelot, who nearly stood up to the vicious chicken of Bristol, who nearly fought the dragon of Agnor, and who had personally wet himself at the Battle of Badonville. Together they formed a band whose names and deeds are to be retold throughout history, the Knights of the Round Table.
And that, my liege, is how we know the earth to be banana-shaped.
This new learning amazes me, Sir Bedivere. Tell me again how sheep's bladders can be employed to prevent earthquakes.
Of course, my liege. Whoa! Look, my liege!
Camelot! Knights, I bid you to your new home. Come, let us ride.
They set off again and are suffused immediately in an ethereal radiance and strange heavenly choir music. A holy voice booms out. Arthur! Arthur! It is I, God. Oh, don't grovel, do get up. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's people groveling all the time.
I'm sorry.
And don't apologize. Every time I try to talk to somebody, sorry this and forgive me that, and I'm not worthy. What are you doing now?
I'm averting my eyes, Lord.
Well, don't. I really don't know how all this got started. Right. Well, Arthur, you and your knights of the Round Table shall have a task. Behold, Arthur, this is the Holy Grail. Look well, Arthur, for it is you and your knights' sacred task to find the Holy Grail. The search for the Holy Grail.
Yes, Lord. Knights, we have a task. We must waste no time. Come, let's ride. Whoa! Hello?
Hello? Who is it?
It is I, Arthur, King of the Britons. Whose castle is this?
This is the castle of my master, Garde Lombard.
Will you kindly ask your master that he would give us food and shelter for the night, that he may join us in our quest for the Holy Grail?
Well, I'll ask him, but I don't think he'd be very keen. You see, we've already got one.
What?
I said, we've already got one.
Well, may we come up and have a look?
Of course not. You are English pigs.
Well, what are you then?
I'm French. Can't you tell by my outrageous accent?
If you do not open these doors, we shall storm your castle.
You do not scare us English pig dogs. Go and boil your bottoms, son of a silly person. You and your silly English kniggets.
ferocity of the French taunting took King Arthur completely by surprise. It was then that he realized that a new strategy was needed if he wanted to find the Grail. So after consulting his closest knights, he decided that they should separate and search for the Grail individually.
Good. That was good.
So they set off immediately. However, Sir Galahad and Robin were lost completely from the beginning, for it was only King Arthur and Sir Bedivere who made any progress. So this enchanter, he knows of the Grail.
He knows about a cave of which no man has entered.
And the Grail is there.
Beyond the cave lies the gorge of eternal peril.
But the Grail, where is the Grail?
You seek you the bridge of death.
The bridge of death, which leads to the Grail. A year passed. Autumn changed to winter, winter changed to spring, spring changed back into autumn, and autumn gave spring and winter a miss, and went straight on into summer, until one day, the knights find themselves at the opening of a barren landscape called Glencoe. They're climbing up the side of a mountain when they must stop for a rest.
Okay, stop. Manish, look!
God be praised, the bridge of death.
They set off again along a rather long and perilous track, edging along the side of a mountain. Galahad is leading. Manish, look! The bridge of death! It's guarded by a bridge keeper who asks each traveler 3 questions, and he who answers the questions correctly may cross in safety.
Stop! He who approaches the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3. Ere the other side you see.
Ask me the questions, bridge keeper. I'm not afraid.
What is your name?
Arthur, King of the Britons,
What is your quest?
to search for the Holy Grail.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Well, what do you mean, an African or European swallow?
I don't know that.
God be praised. The deaths of many fine knights shall soon this day be avenged, as we stand before this sacred castle in which God himself has guided us.
Hello, silly English kniggets and so-called Arthur King, who has the brain of a duck, you know.
How dare you profane this place with your presence? In the name of the Knights of Camelot, we demand you open these doors immediately.
You don't frighten us, English pig dogs. We burst our pimples at you, so-called Arthur and his English kniggets.
Stand by for attack. French persons, today the deaths of many fine knights will soon be avenged, as we shall not stop fighting until each one of you lies dead, and the Grail belongs to those whom God himself has chosen. Attack!
Thank you.
Performer is Veronica Campbell, and she is a second-year senior. She's qualified 3 events, a prose, a poetry, and she will perform her serious solo for you tonight.
How did I ever leave Texas? My friends always ask. How did you ever leave Texas, Minerva? I don't think I could have. Well, I just did. Because you do. But you have to. Painful memories can cause one to make changes in their life. Such is the case when Minerva Prey remembers her past and all the events that led her to leave her home in Texas. It is taken from the novel American Pie by Michael E. West.
How did I leave my home? I'll tell you why. My heart was broke. And I thought a change of scene might heal it, might turn my luck around. And they say a person should never make hard or fast decisions when they're in a grief state. And after Freddie went to medical school, she explained it to me. It's the fight or flight. It is the body's reaction to stress. And that made sense to me. Oh, long ago, all the fight had gone out of me. Nobody's wonder I was left with the flighty. I started out as a feisty woman, though. Me and Hattie married the Prey brothers in a double ceremony. My first child came in 1934, the 10th of January. The doctor said, "Your baby's stuck in the birth canal." I sat up in bed, looked him square in the eye. Say again? It seemed to me that doctor was all wrong. My body was no canal. My baby was like one of them tiny ships in a bottle. The Lord knows how it got there, but it was stuck for all time, unless you broke the glass. Amos Jr. was born, and I said to myself, one child is surely enough. Then, late in the summer of 1937, I skipped my woman's time. Amos said he was ready to have a whole slew of kids. Yes, he told me, we'll fill this house up to the rafters. Now I have me a baby girl. I named her Josephine because I read it in the San Antonio Society papers. Turned out, she was stone dead. Smart. I know my Josie was smart. But how can you behave when you can't hear your mama's voice? The sound of a rattlesnake or thunder. You don't see danger until it slaps you upside the head. And you could cry out her name until you were hoarse. She never knew. In between chasing after Joseph and Amos Jr., I got wore down. 3 years later, wore out to my soul. I had me another baby girl. I named her Ruthie, after my mam's mom. We were all relieved. She could hear a pin drop 50 yards away. During them hard depression years, we made do. Berlin had to move to the ranch. They wasn't blessed with children, but we still had high hopes. Then spring arrived, bringing with it a stream of warmish, dirty air. My babies came down with high fevers. The doctor called it scarlatina. Said there was nothing to do but to wait it out. On the 11th day, the baby's fever had finally broke. Josie was almost well. The little Amos was still hot, flushed, too weak to climb out of bed. And he asked me for a spoonful of ice. Of course, there was none to be had. Burr hitched up the wagon and rode into the ice house. While he was gone, little Amos started jerking all over, and his eyes rolled back in his head. He was stiff. By the time Burl shut up with the ice, it was too late. While Hattie prepared Amos's body for the funeral, I laid me down on my bed and cried. I will not get over this, I thought. I can't get past the heartbreak. Despite my grief, a little bit of the world had opened up, showing me some hard secrets. And I got off my bed. I pinned up my hair and I went out to greet those mourners. The screen door had opened and closed 1,000 times that day. And while nobody was looking, Josie wandered out to the pasture where Mr. Vanhoover's cow was sunning himself, switching his tail, switching black flies from his back. When Josie knelt to pick blue bonnets, I yelled her name, Josie! But she didn't hear. Amos clapped his hands and yelled again, Josie! But it was no use. The bull and Amos took credit for Josie at the same time, and I tried to help. I screamed, Josie! 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 But she didn't hear. She was knocked up in the sky, her arms surrounded her white nightgown billowing. Amos finally was able to scoop her up, and she was dead, blood running into the house. Somebody ran to town for the doctor. Josie! Please, Josie, please open your eyes. Please just open your eyes, Josie. Amos put his hand on my shoulder. She'd stopped breathing. But her heart kept on beating. I could hear it around the room, fluttering like a trapped bird. There was nothing left that I could do but to set it free. I lost my faith. The Lord seemed eventual taking away my babies, and I was through worshiping Him. But I wasn't the only one with a hurt soul. Amos heard of a sorghum mill opening up in Tennessee, and he asked me if I thought I could stand to leave Mount Olive. Yes, I thought. Yes, I could stand it. As long as it wasn't forever, though. As long as Hattie was keeping watch on the graveyard. And as long as we knew our way home.
Our next performer is Mr. Dickovakis, who is going to perform his oration that take his oration to the stage. Oration is a persuasive speech.
Imagine this. You, your entire family, and your friends have lived in your community all of your lives. All of your ancestors have lived here, and you plan to have your kids and their kids live on the same plot of land. Recently, a group of outsiders have come around and tried to take your land and take over your community. You've been able to fight them off so far, but you know you won't be able to last much longer. After a few years, the outsiders decide that their government's more important and powerful than the government you've had for years. They also decide to make a law that says you have to leave your community and walk 1,000 miles to a fenced-in plot of land. And you are punished if you leave this plot. Does this seem unfair to you? No one likes a bully, right? And no one deserves this unjust treatment. The actions I just described to you did not take place in Russia or some remote South American country. The people I refer to are our own Native Americans. Now, we all know why the American government did what it did. They were savages, right? And how dare they fight us to save their land, their livelihood, and their entire existence. You know, for a country that is founded on freedoms, who is based on equality, and who spends billions of dollars every year feeding other countries, I truly do not understand how we can morally or ethically condone the past or continue to support the current treatment of the Native Americans. Today I'll show you just how brutal the American government was. We'll then look at what impact this has on today's Native American population. And finally I'll show you what must be done to rectify and help this grossly unfair treatment. Let's begin by going back 162 years. In 1851, the Sioux Wars began. The wars first began after the American government made it legal for white settlers to travel on the Oregon Trail. Legend has it that a cow escaped from a Mormon traveling party and wandered onto an Indian camp. When the Mormons had caught up to the cow, they were sent scared by all of the Indians. As a result, they reported that the Indians had stolen the cow from them. In retaliation, the army sent 600 troops to the camp and massacred 85 people and took 70 women and children captive. The Indians then began raiding white forts and camps to try and force the settlers off of their land. When the troops began to fight back, nearly 100 Indians were killed. In 1838, the Cherokee Nation was moved to reservations by the Trail of Tears. It is estimated that 8,000 Cherokee people died during the move or shortly after. One of the main benefits that white settlers and the American government got from moving all of these Indians to reservations is that they could obtain all of the Indians' land. And not only did they take their land, they took their livelihood and human spirit away. Yes, the Indians were still alive, but they were being forced off of their homeland and being put onto small reservations and being told it's okay for white people to attack, kill, and take your land, but not okay for you to attack them in defense. And all of the animals they could previously hunt weren't around and were being killed off by all of the settlers. So the Indians were poor, hungry, and totally reliant on outside assistance to survive. It did not take long for a once great Indian nation to become nothing more than government-controlled hostages. Let's move on now and look at what impact this has on today's Native American population. A 2010 U.S. Census states that 22% of our nation's 5.3 million Native Americans live on tribal lands. This is about 1.3 million people, and the living conditions on these reservations are cited as comparable to third world countries. How is it that one of the richest countries in the world has communities totaling up to 1.3 million people living in areas comparable to third world countries? Native American aid states that job opportunities are virtually non-existent, and healthcare worker visits are sporadic at best. At the end of the month, the children and elderly often go hungry. Many of their homes lack central heat, running water, and electricity. If you believe that these conditions did not exist in America today, you are sadly mistaken. 14,500 Sioux Indians live on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. This reservation includes 2 of the poorest counties in the United States. The Native American Population and Labor Force Report states that 8 out of 10 Native Americans on reservations is unemployed. Those that are employed make below poverty wages. Indian Country Today reports that less than 50% of Indian housing is connected to public sewer. If less than 50% of Dallas, Texas was connected to public sewer, how long do you think it would take the American government to find the money to fix this problem? And why should it be any different for the Native Americans? Because of statistics like this, and many others, the life expectancy for the Native Americans is nearly 5 years less than it is for the rest of America. They are 177% more likely to die from tuberculosis, and 500% more likely to die from diabetes. Lastly, infant death rates are 60% higher than they are for Caucasians. And finally, let's look at what must be done to rectify and help this grossly unfair treatment. First off, the American government needs to take another look at some of the acts that are already in place for the Native Americans. In 1887, Congress passed the General Allotment Act, also known as the Dawes Act. The purpose of this act was to give land and citizenship to Indians. The head of each family would receive 160 acres of land, and each single person, 80 acres. After 25 years, they could receive the title for their land and full citizenship. Any land not used by the Indians was supposed to be put into a trust and used by the government for supplies for the Indians. Now this sounds like a great idea, but like many of the other acts that are in place, it turned into a total disaster. After the 25 years, many people couldn't collect the land that they were supposedly entitled to. Next, Congress passed the Citizenship Act. This act, according to the government, this act would change the lives of thousands of Native Americans. But if all of these Indians became American citizens, why is the government not helping them out? And why are they living in the 2 poorest counties in the United States? Congress also passed the Indian Religious Freedom Act of 1978. This act pretty much meant that the government would protect and preserve the American Indians' right to practice their religion freely. But Andrea Beginsky says in her new book, Learning from Past Mistakes, that even after this act was put into place, many of the sacred Indian sites were being destroyed, especially those that commercial interests wished to develop. All of these acts were passed 50 or more years ago, and they all need to be updated and improved. The government also needs to make sure that their reservations are being kept up to code and clean. You can liken this to how the government manages its nursing homes. The government would not allow the mistreatment of the elderly under its current regulations, nor should it allow the mistreatment of the Native Americans on the reservations.
Many people believe that the Indians are already receiving restitution for this unjust treatment. But a Native American living on a Navajo reservation says that there is no and never has been any restitution. Another popular myth is that the Indians go to college for free. This is also false. We as Americans need to help the Indians by first just spreading the word and helping organizations like the Native American Aid, or NAA. The NAA has 3 main areas that it helps dozens of reservations with. These areas are emergency care, care for the elderly, and providing food for needy families. Freedom is one of the key parts for American society. Yet we force the Indians off of their land, and as compensation for taking their land, we let them live in third world-like conditions, many of them below the federal poverty line. Oh, and if that's not enough, we've killed hundreds of thousands of them and still feel like we're doing them a favor. Today I've shown you just how brutal the American government was. We then looked at what impact this has on today's Native American population. And finally, I showed you what must be done to rectify and help this grossly unfair treatment. Remember, no one likes a bully, and no one respects a country that doesn't promote equality and freedom for all. Thank you.
All right, our next performers are Miss Eileen Price and Miss Amy Hawk. Amy is a second-year senior and Eileen is a third-year senior. Eileen has also qualified her prose and her poetry this year, and they are going to be doing their duet for you tonight. Thanks so much.
Is that him over there? No. Are you sure it looks like him?
That's nothing like him.
'Cause if it's that squirrel who stole my yodel yesterday, I've got a little something for him.
It's a different squirrel.
I've got a nice pretty brick here, and I'm going to smash his very little head into a bloody pasty pulp. Oh yes, Mr. Squirrel, you'll be meeting your maker this day.
It's a different squirrel, Abby. Look, he's got a limp. You're not gonna tell me a crippled squirrel stole your yodel.
Well, no. But I bet he knows who did. They're all in this together.
Abby and Martha have reached an age, whereas most seniors often do, that they can reflect on the important aspects of life.
Like the true meaning? You mean deep stuff?
Yeah, the important stuff. Join us in the park in Sneeze by Frederick Strappel.
What was that?
I almost sneezed.
You almost sneezed.
Yes, but I managed to hold it in.
I've never heard you holding a sneeze.
Well, that's because I hardly ever sneeze. But when I do sneeze, it's always an almost sneeze.
What in the world is wrong with you? You could pop a blood vessel in your head and have a cerebral hemorrhage.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Ooh, it may have already happened. Does your head feel funny?
Funny as in ha-ha.
No. Funny as in rivulets of blood seeping into your brain, soaking it all up like a sponge.
My head feels fine. That's just an old wives' tale.
Well, I'm an old wife.
You're an old widow.
Hey, now, not necessarily. Joe's body was never found, you know. He can still turn up yet. Ooh, that would be just like him. Just when I'm starting to relax.
Well,
your mother. And it's an experience I have not quite shaken. Oh, is that him right there? Is that one him?
No, that's a female squirrel.
How do you know?
I know. I can tell the sex of any animal just by looking at it. I can tell the sex of fish. Don't ask me how, but I can. It's a gift. And a great burden.
Oh, would you quit doing that? You're giving me the heebie-jeebies.
I can't help it. This is how I sneeze. There must be pollen around here somewhere.
Your brain's gonna pop right out your ears. If it weren't for that squirrel I'd have to kill, I'd leave right now.
Nothing's gonna happen to my brain. My brain's been the same for 70 years. That's just an old wives' tale. Another thing they say, if you cross your eyes, they'll stay that way. Well, I've been crossing my eyes at parties and social gatherings for 70 years. And look, they're still straight as a string.
Oh, yeah. And they say if you eat Brandy Crust, you'll get curly hair. Well, dang that. I've been eating bread crust from here to Timbuktu. And look, not a curl. I should look like Shirley Temple by now. That was my dream.
Who were the old wives?
Well, what do you mean?
The old wives. Was it like a club?
You mean like an old wives' club?
Yeah. Do you think all these old wives just sat around a table and came up with these tales? Or do you think some young fella gathered them all in a book or something?
I do not know.
Because I've never read it.
Neither have I.
Yet we both know so many old wives' tales.
Word of mouth, I guess.
You know, it makes you wonder, who's gonna pass on these stories after we're gone?
That's true enough. The old traditions are dying.
People get their information from machines nowadays.
Yeah, pretty soon we'll all be robots. And we won't be able to sneeze or break wind or anything.
It's very sad.
It's very, very sad. Oh, look, it's him for sure. Look, Martha, look.
Oh, no.
And he's got a ring-a-ding in his mouth.
Oh,
Bold-ass brass that
you let him finish the ring-ding, Abby. That's a humane thing to do.
Get out of my way, Martha. I didn't get this far in life by being cinnamon. Come here, Mr. Squirrel. Just a little closer. Just one more step. No.
Say, did you hear that sneeze?
Did I hear it?
qualified 2 pros already, and she's going to perform one of them tonight. Okay. Wait for my cue, please.
My baby Dorothy had the spring colic. Oh, there was nothing I could do to calm her down. All morning I walked up and down the length of the porch, jiggling my arms, watching Tyler plow the garden. Tyler was a teller at Citizens Bank, and he was proud to bring home $14 every week. I've been hankering to start me up the garden early. I thought it would ease my mind of worrying about the baby and worrying about other awful things going on. There's so much good in the garden. If you don't count what happened to Adam and Eve. In life, you have to do what you have to do in order to survive. In 1932, times were hard. Miss Gussie and her husband Charles are forced to make a decision that will haunt them forever. The following selection is taken from the book Crazy Ladies by Michael Lee West. We lived on the edge of town. I had plenty on my mind. My nerves were laid wide open from Dorothy's habit cries, which I could not soothe. That was also the year a series of murders shocked Crystal Falls. The victims were all young women. They had been stabbed, but I heard that the newspapers hadn't reported everything. It was late afternoon when Dorothy fell asleep. I set her in the bassinet, rolled her into the kitchen, and looked out the window. Tyler was moving the plow in the barn. Tyler stomped his feet on the back porch, lumbered into the kitchen. He gave me a kiss on the cheek and went upstairs to take a bath. I sat down at the kitchen table and laid out all the packets of seeds. Lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes. The screen door was open. I glanced up, thinking I ought to close the door before Dorothy got chilled. And that was when I saw the man. He was outlined against the screen mesh. Lordy Jesus, how long he been standing there watching me? What do you want? The man stepped into my kitchen. A great stench filled the room. Corn whiskey. He was barely out of his teens. I didn't ask you to come into my house, now did I? He answered by reaching in my dish drainer, yanking out my best butcher knife, and pointing at me. Take your clothes off and get on the floor! He looked too young to be telling me what to do. I most certainly will not. He grabbed my arm, pressed the tip of the knife against my throat. I closed my eyes, waited for him to plunge that knife deep into my windpipe. He grabbed my collar, ripped my dress to the waist. You get out of my house, my husband's gonna blow your head off. Dorothy awakened. He walked across the room, lowered the knife to the pink blanket, and flipped it back to the blade. Dorothy screamed. I couldn't breathe. Upstairs, water continued to gush into the tub. Would it ever stop? A step back would reach blindly for the pantry. I flung open the door and grabbed Charlie's shotgun. I lifted the gun and took aim. You old hog, you get out of my house! His eyes went completely black. He lunged toward me. Dorothy was screaming, how can Charlie not hear? Lord Jesus, I pray, let me shoot him in the heart! I squeezed the trigger. Dark blood poured out of his back as he slumped to the floor, still clenching that butcher knife. Charlie came running down the stairs. Oh, mercy! Oh, merciful heavens! Charlie was feeling the man's neck. What in tarnation happened? He's still alive. He tried to rape me, and he was going to kill Dorothy. We've got to get a doctor. Wait just a minute. Honey, do you know who this boy is? No? I don't care. Let's just get the sheriff. This is Claude Wentworth's son. His youngest boy, Sawyer. Claude Edmund Wentworth was the president of the bank where Charlie worked.
Clyde Emmett Wentworth owned half the town. He had 2 boys. The youngest, Sawyer, had a reputation. He was the one who done gone slam on Miss Beaty's cat into a stone wall. Tell me what to do. Just let me think. Oh, Gussie, this is so serious. I'm afraid of what Mr. Wentworth will do. He'll foreclose our house. His boy would have murdered me, like he did to those other women. The thing is, Gussie will never prove it was self-defense. I can hear the Wentworths now. They'll say you thought he was a prowler, that your nerves got the better of you, that you shot an innocent boy. He wasn't innocent. What if Mr. Wentworth rouse me, Gussie? He won't. Nobody hears the truth. What if he already knows it? Blood is thicker than water, Gussie. And the Wentworths is the thickest of all. They'll die before dragging their name through the mud. They'll run me out of town first. Let's bury him now. I said not believing my own ears. Surely I hadn't said such a thing. Gussie, no! He's not even dead. I don't care. No, we won't do this. Oh, yes, we will. You're the one who's afraid those Wentworths, Charlie, not me. We'll bury him in the east end of the garden. The ground's soft, and then we'll never talk about it again. Ever. We'll burn in hell. Charlie walked out of the room and leave me with that man and my screaming baby. We seemed to work forever, digging throughout the night until our shovels struck rock. We wore the boy's body into the hole and it fell with a hard thump. I heard a muffled moan. Mother! Oh, what the hell, the moon! Gussie, stop it! For the love of God, stop it! I told you not to talk about this again, ever. That's something. My garden produced enormous cabbages and cucumbers. Corn was so sweet and sour, you could cut it off a cow with a spit. And my tomatoes were full of red juice. Our next performer is Miss Coral Wise, and she is a freshman, first-year freshman. She was qualified for informative speech, and she's a little nervous. She'll be fine. All right, you ready? Okay. Wait for my cue. Okay.
If you say that again, I'm gonna wash your mouth out with soap. Has your mother ever said that to you? Well, mine has. And I'm not at all proud of the fact. Profanity. We never really think about it or what it means. We just say it. And according to New York Times, profanity means a profane act or utterance. Today, profanity is heard everywhere. It's in songs, it's in movies, and lately, it's all over the internet. According to How Swearing Works by Tracy D. Wilson, analyses of recorded conversations reveal that roughly out of 80 to 90 words spoken each day, 0.5 to 0.7 of all words are swear words. It's a bit insane to think that people use these words as much as any other word, especially because these words can be hurtful and can far-reaching. Today, we are going to look at the history of profanity. I will then show you how it affects us. And last, how you can work to stop using profanity. Well, I'm not saying you use profanity, but let's begin by taking a historical look at those bad words. It's believed by many that profanity has been around since the beginning of time, but written words came long after spoken words, so it's hard to know the exact details of how the practice began. Profanity never appeared with much frequency, however, until the 16th century. The works of William Shakespeare, for example, included profanity. In keeping in traditions of Elizabethan drama, William peppered his plays with profanity, while enjoying the vulgar as well as the sublime. According to Almost Before We Spoke, We Swore, by Natalie Angular, 2005, swearing is prevalent. It's in every culture around the world, each having their own profanities. And the practice of profanity is very unique. Considering in most cultures it's known as a form of taboo, it's still used by almost everyone. And according to swearing statistics by Webster Ross, in America, 84% of people the ages 18 and older admit to swearing in public almost daily. And experts agree that most children learn these words and begin to grasp their power long before they understand their meaning. And I think most parents have been there, done that. According to researchers, that profanity is an early form of word magic, which is the belief that the words that you and I use each day either have a negative or positive effect on our world. And in studies of modern non-literate cultures show that these people believed that our words have a supernatural power over the physical world, which led to the belief that some words are morally good and others not so much. Let's move on to see how profanity affects us. Researchers say that there are both good and bad things that profanity can do to you. For example, did you know that profanity actually stresses your brain out? Every time you say a cuss word, you send reactions deep in the emotion centers of the brain. And while you might like saying the S word or even the F word every once in a while to blow off some steam or get rid of some pain, your brain doesn't always agree. To prove this, Dr. Jeffrey Bowers and Professor Christopher Plato-Pierce designed an experiment. They had contestants read off of 3 lists. One with swear words on it, another with emphasis of those words, and the last with normal words, with no profane connections at all. The result was that the people reading off the swear words list had a far greater atomic response than reading off of any of the other lists. In other words, it's a lot more stressful to swear than just to talk normally. On the other hand, according to a new study by British researchers, saying the S word or even the F word can actually help to reduce physical pain. And it seems most people use these words just by instinct. Indeed, any owner of a stubbed toe, whacked funny bone, or bandaged skin knows that dancing the agony jig and shouting its profane theme tune is about as automatic as a doctor's reflex hammer. To figure out why, psychologists at Brighton Keele's University had contestants stick their hand in a bucket of cold ice water and endure the pain for several minutes. They asked one group to repeat a cuss word of their choice continuously, and the other group was asked to repeat a more controlled word, like what we would use to describe a table. The result was, not only did cussing help you endure the pain longer, it also reduced the participation of pain intensity. So cussing, they found, actually helps you cope. Let's move on to see how we can work to stop using profanity. Since so many people use profanity, even if they probably shouldn't, or maybe might not even mean to, experts give us great advice on how to stop using it. For example, have you ever heard of a profanity jar? Every time you say a cuss word, you put $1 in the jar, and the spoonful jar goes towards your spouse or parent to spend however they want. And us teenagers, we'll stop cussing really quick, because it's hard for us to come by money, you know. Another way to stop using these offensive words is spread the word. Let people close to you know that you're trying to stop using profanity, or have your family or friends tell you whenever it slips into the conversation. Yes, it's annoying, but it's a good way to stop a bad habit. The last way to stop using profanity is switch your words. say something more offbeat or funny, other than what you automatically want to say. But try not to say a word too close to what you're trying to quit saying, because you'll fall into the original expression. And the power of profanity is very powerful, especially if you let it take over your language. In conclusion, we have taken a look at the power of profanity. I've shown you the history of profanity, how it affects us, and how we can work to stop using it. So I guess next time I say a cuss word, I'm going to have to put $1 in the jar. Thank you.
Our next performer is Mr. Peyton Kendall. He is a second-year junior, and he has qualified his pros for state.
Who am I? That is a simple question, yet one without a simple answer. I'm many things, yet I'm just one thing. But I'm not just a thing lying around somewhere like a marker or a toaster or a housewife. That is for sure. I'm much more than that. I'm a living, breathing thing. A thing that can mark with a marker, or toast with a toaster, or house with a housewife. And still, I am much more than that. Many of us struggle to find out who we really are. We go through life searching for an identity, only to find out how complex we really are. The following selection tells us the story of a man as he discovers himself. Who I Am, taken from This Is a Book by Dimitri Martin. I am a man. I'm also a former baby and a future skeleton. And a distant future pile of dust. I'm also a Gemini who's on the cusp, the Taurus cusp. I'm brother, and I'm son, and I'm father, but just according to one person who doesn't have any proof, but still won't seem to let it go. Let's just keep that between us. I'm trustworthy, and I'm loyal. But at the same time, I am no Boy Scout. Oh, no. I'm quite the opposite, in fact. And by opposite, I don't mean Girl Scout. No, I mean Man Scout. And by that, I don't mean Scout Leader. In fact, I'm not affiliated with the Scouts, so let's just put that behind us. I'm concepts and thoughts and feelings and outfits. And I'm each of these all at once. Unless I'm in the shower. Then I'm not outfits, because that would be rather uncomfortable. To some, I'm known as Chief, and these are usually people who work at Radio Shack or try to sell me shoes in the mall. Hey, Chief! To others, I'm known as Buddy. And these are usually people who wonder if I've got a problem, or what it is that I'm looking at. And still, to others who are in the same bar, standing just to the left side, I'm, get him! People have known me by many titles. In college, I was student, and Geek Club vice president, and queer bait. In college, I was pledge, and then disappointment, and then transfer student shortly thereafter. And I'm still amazed at how picky certain some so-called brotherly organizations can be. I'm actually glad they didn't pick me for that stupid fraternity. To some, I'm Myth. To others, I'm Milk, but only because that's what I've told them my name is, even though it's not actually even close to my real name. I'm a mystery, wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a pita. Why the pita? That's just part of the mystery. I'm everything, and I'm nothing. I'm just kidding. I'm not everything and nothing. That's ridiculous. I'm just everything. I am what I eat, and I'm especially this when I bite my nails. I've been called many things, like, "Hey you," and "Get out of the way," and "Look out!" And then, sometime later, plaintiff. I am my own worst critic. I'm going to give you an example now. I'm not being me enough. That's the kind of thing that I'm prone to say. You see what I mean? I'm sure you do. I'm the silent majority. And I'm the loud minority. And I'm not talking about Puerto Ricans when I say that, because I'm not racist. Just clearing that up. See, I'm actually someone who has a lot of Puerto Rican friends, and I'm pretty sure I have at least one friend from each of the races. Hi, Dao Ming! I'm friend, and I'm foe. And I'm faux show. What up, y'all? I'm sorry about that. I was just talking to one of my race friends. He's black. I'm white, and I'm black. And I'm both of these when I'm dressed up as a mime. And then I'm... I'm Batman. But only on Halloween, of course. And then I'm not invited to any parties. And I'm actually just fine with that, because Batman doesn't go to parties dressed as Batman, but as Bruce Wayne. It just makes me more right, you know. I'm someone who likes to go to the park, but I'm not the guy with the Labrador Retriever and the tennis ball and the tattered book under his arm, who's wearing fleece and is kind of tan. No. I'm not that guy. I'm sick of that guy and all the women that talk to him. I'm the sun. I'm the moon. I'm the rain. I am the earth. And I'm all of these things when I'm taking mushrooms with Kevin. I'm really good friends with Kevin. Not too sure what his last name is. I'm sometimes referred to as "excuse me" in an annoyed tone of voice, because apparently I'm in the way. I'm so sorry I can't read your mind. I'm moving out of the way now. As slowly as I possibly can. And you're not going to do anything about it. I'm often the one they call you, but I'm no more you than you. I'm me, and yet I'm no more me than you are me, or ever can be. I'm confused. I'm neither here nor there, but yeah, there, just a little to your left. I'm waving at you. I'm waving at you right now. I'm looking at you, and I'm wondering why the heck you're not waving back. It's kind of making me feel a little awkward. I think I'm going to leave now.
Events. They've added a new event this year. It's called Serious Duet. They split duets. These two, Cameron Church is a third-year senior, and Kristen Line is a third-year junior. And these two have also qualified a humorous duet. And Kristen is also qualified at an IDA and a humorous solo. And they are going to do their serious duet for you tonight. So hang on. Right for my cue, please. Got it.
Why me? It is a question as unsolvable as why I am here. Why me? All this fuss over a pound of flesh?
I mean, it's not even a functional organ after all. It's only a bit of tissue.
Don't talk about it.
Well, if it hadn't been you, it would have been someone else.
But it is me. And I am here. Society has proclaimed many taboo subjects.
2 of these being cancer and a woman's breasts. And when the 2 come together,
No one wins. Sally.
and the men in her life try to come to terms with this reality in
Tissue by
by
Louise
Louise
Page.
Page. You're getting boobies.
I am not!
Aren't you?
I'm not!
All girls do.
I don't.
But don't you want boobies?
No!
But you'll get them.
I won't.
Bet you do.
Bet I don't.
Go on, bet that when you get boobies, you look just like your mom.
Will I? Mom, please give me a bra, please. I need one. I've got nipples. But Zoe says you've got to cover them up. Zoe says that if you don't have uplift, they just grow until they reach the floor. Buy me one. Because if you do, then I won't have to ask Dad then, will I? Oh, do you think it'll make me look nice?
Sally, come on.
Don't touch me.
Why?
I don't want you to.
What's wrong?
I don't know.
You must have bumped yourself somewhere.
I know I haven't. I remembered if I had.
Well, if you haven't bumped yourself, then there can't be anything there.
I don't want to be told that there's nothing there. I want to check that there isn't.
Then go to the doctor in the morning. Now, come on.
Go to the doctor?
Yes, have him check you out. Give you an examination.
What if it's...
You know why it happens. Because frigid women want it to. Don't get hysterical.
Simon, I think I can feel a lump.
Ask your mom what she thinks.
She thinks it's the fibers in my bust sinking because I don't wear a bra.
Well, they say you've got to have uplift.
Who do?
The bra ads.
I've been wearing mine solidly for the past month, even in bed in case it made it go away. It doesn't make any difference.
Then obviously you don't have the right kind.
How come you're such an expert?
Because I read the bra ads.
Do you read the bra ads or you just look at the bras?
More believable than breast lumps.
What if it is cancer, Simon?
You have to be at least 40.
I bet it can happen when you're younger.
But your chances have to be really remote.
How remote?
As winning the lottery or something.
People do win.
But they aren't likely to be you.
I suppose not.
Next, please.
I've got a lump in my breast.
Was there any pain?
No, why?
Pain usually means it's mastitis.
It's not the same as the other one, is it?
No, I'm afraid it's more solid.
More serious?
We might, as a very last resort, we might have to do a biopsy.
Biopsy?
And we take a bit of tissue and send it for examination. Well, that seems unlikely. I'll get you a mammogram.
A what?
It's a technique of x-raying, but it comes out on paper instead of on the film.
What's it called?
The technique. Mammogram. Now, I assure you it will be painless, and we'll get you an appointment as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello?
Sal?
Simon? It's me.
Is there something wrong?
Something's terrible. They found a lump in my breast, Simon, and it could be
Could be what?
hand Simon, please don't tell my mother.
Mom, I just talked to Sally. She said they found a lump. She said it could be cancer. Mom, I was silly. I didn't know what to say. No, she thinks it's probably just nothing.
Simon, would you sleep with a woman without a breast?
I suppose.
How do you mean, I suppose?
I guess if she turned me on.
Would she still turn you on?
If we got that far, I don't suppose she'd turn me off.
Would it be the same?
I don't know. It's about people, not breasts.
But if it came down to it, can a lover bury his face between a lone breast?
Because she asked me to. I am the one that copes. Sally is my responsibility now. And I'm the one that goes to the hospital and waits. Like an expected father. Yeah? Oh. That's what she was afraid of. Losing it. Well, can I see her? I want to help her get back to normal. But what's normal after losing a breast? Will she be the same or will she be different? Is there a difference? I've had to take.
What?
I'm sorry, I've had to take the breast.
Oh.
It was for your own good. It was a malignant tumor.
Are you sure that you've got it all?
Yes.
I'm all right?
Right is right. You will feel some pain, discomfort, and a sense of loss, but that will all pass.
Are you sure that you've got it all? You haven't left any of it, have you?
Yes, that's why you can't feel anything there. Now, please just go back to sleep. I've brought her chocolates. She looks ghastly. But I ask her how she's doing.
I'm embarrassed by him being here and him seeing me like this, but I tell him that I'm fine, and I smile, and I ask him how he is.
I tell her that I'm all right. And that she looks pretty good.
I tell him that I'm feeling better than I thought I would, and isn't it a lovely day?
I tell her that it's a little bit colder outside than it looks, but I'm sorry I didn't bring any flowers.
Tell him it's a bad time of the year for cut flowers anyway, but chocolates he shouldn't have, how lovely.
I tell her that it's my pleasure.
Tell him I'll get fat.
I tell her I'm sure the food here is terrible.
Tell him it's that bad.
I tell her that.
I tell him that.
I tell her.
I tell him.
I kiss her goodbye, and I leave.
For the first time, I look. I feel like I will never again feel good because of it. Because if anyone says,
"Hey, you look good,"
I will think of this scar, buried in my skin, of the vivid crest of the knife gash and the speckling of stitches. Always I will turn full frontal in the mirror and see one breast approaching opulence and marking it was here. I hate it. It is so disgusting and humiliating and demanding of attention, and I can't think that if I forget it, the fear and the pain will go away. I can't.
Sally!
I can't go out there, they'll see me and they'll all know.
You have to get used to this. It's the thoughts that drag you down. Whether because I admired her body, she thought that it meant it had to be whole. She tells me that she's happy, and that she's been happy, but I can't help but think that it's because she is so unhappy now. She tells me that there's no one to blame, but if there is no blame, then how can I understand the unfairness of this situation? She nearly destroyed her life to keep her body whole. I didn't ask her to be perfect, but to be here.
In the night, it is the worst because can't go to bed without feeling like I'll be dead when I wake up. Always there are the dark moments and the times that I think, why they even bothered? But then I remember, what does it matter that a breast isn't there because I am alive.
She undresses for me. For the first time. But she doesn't turn off the lights. Do I look at her? Or do I look away? I don't want things to get awkward. So I do look at her. And her body. And it's sensuous.
All this fuss over a pound of flesh.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. It's only a bit of tissue.
Thank you.
Alright, our next performer is Kendra Gonzalez. She is a second-year junior, and she has qualified 3 events already for stage. She did a poetry and a prose, and she's going to do her humorous solo for you tonight.
Do you suffer from unsightly warts? Nasty, horrid, unsightly warts. Can't get a day. Embarrassed to go to the gym, the grocery store? Well, wart away dissolves the ugliness, making you feel whole again. Just one drop a day melts your warts away. No, that was a genie. Oh, ding! That was a witch. Wouldn't it be great if you could resolve all your problems by simply turning your opponent into a toad? Roselda finds being a teenage witch, mainstreamed into the public school system, a bit of a challenge. With the warts and the broom, it's hard to fit in. Watch as she finds out if it's worth giving up your identity to try to fit in. And the broom you wrote in on by Jerry Babushka. Look, I'm a witch, okay? Witches have warts, and we think they're attractive. That was until they mainstreamed me right into the public school system. They took me right out of school in Greenwich, Connecticut, and shoved me into a classroom full of smooth complexion mortals. And I'm like, why not just put me in the vat and boil me now? These people were ghastly, not a blotch on their faces. No, there was this one girl, Laura Spilljurgensen, who had a bit of an acne problem. But they solved it for her. They made her invisible. Nobody spoke to her. Nobody helped her with her homework. And there were quite a few lunch tables where the main topic of convo was Laura Spilljurgensen's acne and my warts. I started to feel unsightly. I came home one day and I was like, Mom, 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 Mom! I have warts. And she's like, well done, Roselda. You're a witch. Ugly is pretty. And you're beautiful. But Mom, I have this big one right here on my nose. It's like a raisin. Oh, I had that when I was a girl. It's why your father married me. But I lost it in the meat cutter accident. And now I'm repulsive. Mom didn't get it. Witches can't mainstream. Oh.
why should I? If Sky Bridges was late to band one more time, they would demote her to last chair in the clarinet section. She'd have to share music with Loris the Jerkinson. And she'd actually have to acknowledge her existence on the planet. Finally, the principal called me, and the guidance counselor. The principal went first.
Now, Roselda, we would prefer it if you simply walked to class instead of riding on your broom. It's giving the other students a complex.
But they need a complex. I have a complex too. No one talks to me because I have stupid warts.
Roselda, they probably don't talk to you because you cast a spell on the senior class president.
I did do that. But still.
Are you going to change him back?
No. The guidance counselor took a different tactic.
Now, Roselda, have you ever heard of wart away? Just one drop a day melts your warts away. I know appearance isn't everything, but in your case...
This is high school, I reminded her, as if she wasn't living that dream permanently. Appearance is everything. Like the appearance of my clothing. The goth kids hated on me, as if I wanted to be like them. One of the emo girls even stopped cutting herself long enough to look at me and whine, "What are you trying to do? You know, I want to, like, own my own misery without you horning in on it. It's like you're trying to adopt the look without the required corresponding. And I just want you to know how insulting it is. Witches wear black. It's not a choice, it's a heritage.
And don't worry, we only eat children smaller than ourselves.
Well, there was that one problem of declining enrollment in the 3rd grade. But they fit so well in the vat. Okay, back to words. So, at home I looked in this big book of spells for something to get rid of my warts. But there's nothing. Nothing about being popular in a school where you don't belong, and nothing about fitting in when everybody else is pulling up with a Toyota and you're pulling up with an O-seater. The cauldron pretty much boiled over when I had it with my English teacher about Macbeth. Shakespeare's portrayal of witches is stereotypical, demeaning, and the play should be banned. And he's like, "Get out, you and the broom you rode in on." Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Pretty much every disagreement I had ended with the other party hopping around on 4 legs. On the other hand, well, not really hand, no flies in the cafeteria. They even started holding classes in a large terrarium. You know, it's pretty easy to be the valedictorian when everybody else is a toad. Finally, I was hauled before my very displeased Uncle Broadwick. He's head warlock.
Now, Roselda, I understand you're having problems adjusting to your new school, but this is a wholly inappropriate method of dealing with your frustrations.
But, Uncle Broadwick, if I can't turn people into toads, what can I turn them into?
You don't turn them into anything. You turn yourself into a more tolerable young lady.
But, Uncle Broadwick, no one tolerates me, all because I have stupid warts.
Roselda, I'm surprised you've turned them into toads. Toads cause warts, you know.
Uncle Broadwick had a point. So, we cut a deal. I would restore the school to humanity. Uncle Broadwick would help me get rid of my warts. But we had to hurry. Mr. Brown was about to dissect the prom queen. I turned every toad back into a crowded in a couple of years. And we had to make some concessions. No casting spells on anybody who couldn't cast back. No flying between classes on my broom. And no eating third graders, except the bullies. Finally, we got to the raw end of the deal. Uncle Broadwick, I changed everyone back, and I won't do that stuff again. Will you help me get rid of my warts now?
Just one drop a day.
I ran my hand over my face, and it felt smooth and clear. I even smiled at a boy, and he actually smiled back. So I strode into the bathroom, as proud could be. My hands shook, and my heart raced. And as I leaned over the sink, all I could think was, "Ah!"
Senior, Meredith. Meredith has also qualified a prose and just a prose and her first duet. So here we go.
I go into premature labor, and my doctor puts me on an IV that makes me feel like I've just had 56 espressos.
I'm in the backseat of the station wagon, panting like a dog.
After 2 weeks, the doctor says,
I can take you off the drugs tomorrow, but I'm going to be way out on exit 151 on the LIE for Thanksgiving. So if you don't mind, can we wait a day?
I finally get to the hospital, they give me my epidural on my lollipop, and all I can think is, where the heck is the Jack Daniels?
The nurse comes in and I say, I feel something happening. She checks the monitor. Not yet. The nurse comes in and I say, I think I'm having contractions. She checks the monitor. Not yet.
I don't know what's happening to me. I didn't take no baby class, and I feel like my body's gonna split in two.
I am in agony. And the nurse comes in and I say, look, lady, I am having contractions. Another nurse follows her in, looks at my belly, looks at the monitor and says, oh, silly, you got the thing upside down.
Millions of women have done this, right?
I am praying.
I am panting.
He's my fifth.
My first.
Oh, my gosh!
Of all the jobs that God created,
Being a mom is the toughest.
just ask any mom.
From the beginning, they experience so many different types of pain.
The following selection is taken from Motherhood Out Loud by Michelle Lowe et al. This is me on the floor next to my baby's bed. My baby is a sleep terrorist, waking every 2 hours to feed, all day and all night long. Tonight I'm horizontal on carpeting because my husband has a cold. A cold!
Don't do any night feedings, I said. Rest. This made me sound like a very loving wife, but I am saving my neck. I'm not getting sick, and my baby's not getting sick. Stay away from us. I used to be an insomniac, so I thought the sleep deprivation part of motherhood would be easy. The heck with that. Sleep deprivation is killing me. Sometimes before I leave the house, I look at my husband and say, do I look okay? Or like a crazy person. And sometimes he doesn't answer. If I get sick, I will kill him with these very hands. And if my baby gets sick, I will kill him and then myself. I belong to her now. She depends on me. And I better be up to the task, or else.
Oh, hi, is this bench taken? Cool. No, Henry, put the little girl down. Down, babe. He's 3. God, I hate the park. If you would have told me that I'd be sentenced to 5 to 10 years in the park, I'd have stuck with the cat. by the way. All right, it's not clove, but it's the Pock. You see, the Pock for me is like Dante's Purgatory. I mean, day after day. Whose turn is it on the swing? Couldn't we just let them duke it out already? Look, I know they're boys, and you gotta take them outside. They will not play Scrabble. They'll throw the pieces at the cat, and they won't miss, 'cause they're boys. No, Harry, put the little girl down. Down, babe.
Hi, is the seat taken?
No.
I love your diaper bag.
Yours too.
Dakota, just tell the little boy to go away. Do not let him do that with your Barbie. Dakota! It must be one of the nanny's kids, but I think it's great they get to negotiate with all kinds, don't you?
And because hell's not an issue for me, I say, sure!
Wow, will you look at the time? Dakota, put down that sippy cup. Do not use that sippy cup. Dakota!
Damn it, Harry. Take back your sippy cup and give the little boy back his Michelle Obama Barbie.
Great diaper bag.
Bite me. Man, I love my kid. But sometimes I wish we met under different circumstances. I mean, really, the only upside to this whole thing is him.
First day of school.
I'm supposed to drop my daughter off at school and not go inside. They tell me this in a letter.
I tell Katie, when you get to the front door, you wave and I'll wave and I'll catch your wave and you catch my wave.
What do you mean I can't go into my daughter's school? Jessica is 4 years old. If I want to walk her in, that's my prerogative. I'm her mother.
And Katie says to me, Mama, don't forget to catch my wave. I'm gonna wave real big at you. And Katie gets to the front door and all of these kids are surging past her and she's gone. No wave, nothing. Katie!
I'm marching to the school past this mother who is waving like crazy. Like she's trying to land an airplane or something. And the principal says to Jessica, hello, my dear, why don't you come with me? My dear, my ass! She's not going with him. But Jessica just lets go of me and takes his hand.
5 minutes later, I'm still waving at the door. Waving, I swear I am.
You get over it.
Lady, that is my 5th child that just walked in there and I will never get over it.
My son tells me this girl in his English class agreed to go to the movies with him on Friday night. And I managed to say, oh, cool, and the most relaxed, unconcerned, hey, it's your life, not mine kind of way. I get her name out of him, but not much more. So I check her out on his Facebook page. Hey, look, she's actually kind of cute. And she commented on one of his statuses. Ha ha, LOL. What a doll, I love her already. When we pick Chloe up, I am beaming at her. Hi there, how are you? It's so great to meet you.
Yeah.
I drive into the cinema. Hey, it's just me and my son and his date. His date! He's on his first date. When I drop him off, they go inside and I sit out there for what seems like hours. But finally, they're coming out side by side. When they get in the car, I ask them how they liked the movie. Chloe says she liked it, and Michael says, it sucked! I can see Chloe's expression in the rearview mirror, and my heart sinks. To each his own. So, who's ready for some frozen yogurt with way too many toppings? Let's make ourselves sick! But Chloe says she promised her parents she'd be home right after the movies. When we drop her off, she quickly gets out and races away.
Probably should have kissed her goodnight.
I'm not so sure.
Why did you talk so much? That was embarrassing. You ruined everything.
No, you ruined everything. I pull away and I pretend that I have some control over where we're going. 3 days before graduation. 3 days! Sonia says she's not even gonna go to graduation.
Bridget informs me that she wants to wear a bikini under her graduation robe. A little string thing. Does it have to be a bikini, I ask? Half the stuff you wear doesn't cover your butt anyways. Wear some of that.
The first one to graduate high school on both sides, and she won't go. I beg her and I plead with her, but she says, no, you're all just making too big a deal.
I start getting calls from other mothers. Am I letting Bridget wear the bikini under her graduation robe? Whose side am I on? Oh, geez, I gotta pick a side.
I have been cooking for 3 weeks. I got 65 people coming.
I get an email from the principal forbidding the girls to wear the bathing suits under their graduation robe. This whole thing is driving me crazy.
This is crazy. I go in there and I wake her up in the middle of the night and I say, you tell me why you won't go. Tell me, did you do something bad? Are they holding you back? She says, no, don't be stupid. You're all just too damn loud. So, Sonia and I, we make a deal. She'll go to graduation if Poppy and I go alone. So the next morning, I just get up and I tell everybody else not to come.
After breakfast, I make a deal with Bridget. You can wear the bikini under your graduation robe if I can wear a thong under my mini skirt. She wore a dress.
Sonia goes to graduation, and Poppy and I go alone, and we sit there. And when they call out her name, I take out my cowbell and ring it. Yay! Have fun.
All right, again, thank you all very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed our... There's ice cream.
Don't you give me that to you. Don't you?
Hey, and I need all my friends to come and
Give me a little boy.